What's going on, everybody? This is Drew here. I want to welcome you all to a brand new episode of Phoenix Down. This is Phoenix Down 116.3. Yep, fourth episode, I believe. And we are continuing and finishing our playthrough of Yakuza 6, The Song of Life. Today I have with me Matt.
Hello. This is a bonus-sized recording.
Yeah, I don't know how long this is going to be. I don't think it's going to be as long as we think because I'm not doing the chapter-by-chapter breakdown because, holy crap, that'll be a lot. We will be here for 4 hours talking about this. We will hit the major plot points, I guess, would be the best way to describe it.
Yeah.
We are finishing it, and that's 5 chapters in all that we're going to go through, which is pretty big. Granted, the last chapter feels like it could have been broken down to 2 and probably trimmed a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't feel like there's nowhere near as much filler as there was in some of the games, but it's still kind of a long game. I think my final playtime was right around 24 hours.
Oh, wow. Mine was 17.
I don't know why mine would have been so long. I did go back and spend a fair amount of extra time doing some side missions and a lot of the mini games.
Sure.
A little bit of time at the gym, so I did probably amp up my time by maybe 2 hours from that.
Right. So
yeah.
I didn't do a lot. I was wanting to, but I had to finish it up, unfortunately.
Yeah, I probably did around 11 or 12 of those of the mini games, mostly just for money, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, toward the end of the game, there I bought like at the very end of before the final bosses and stuff like that. I went and just bought a whole bunch of healing items.
Yeah,
and was down to like 400 yen, and I was like, yeah, okay. Luckily, I had made enough to carry myself on through there.
Yeah, it turns out I didn't need as many as I bought, but over the last 2 times I stocked up from playing that game, I probably got 300,000 yen.
Yeah.
Just spent on healing items. At one point I went to every store and bought every item, 10 of every item.
Yeah.
Which, in Kamurocho is quite a lot when you go to some of those stores.
Yeah. You might want to stock up while you're there, because when you get to Onomichi, you're kind of very limited on what you can get.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like I basically ate them out of business.
Yeah.
Or kept them in business, I guess.
Yeah, kept them in business by eating at their restaurants constantly. So I guess the last chapter we ended on was 8?
Yeah, I think we finished 8.
And then moved on to 9. With 9... Oh, God, I can't remember half this stuff, but I know in Chapter 9 is where it is finally revealed who Haruto's dad is. Because whoever the father is holds a big significance to this entire... the whole war that's going on right now. And it's revealed by Hirose, the patriarch Hirose, that the father is none other than Yuta, which was one of the Hirose family Yakuza guys. One of the guys that also went with us to Kamurocho.
The only one who remotely looked like he could be the father.
Yes. Did you see this coming?
If only, like as we mentioned last time we recorded, if only because I thought that he was going to end up betraying Nagumo, and that was going to be an emotional arc. That never happened, but
yeah,
makes some sense. I mean, Yuta you could see that happening, I guess. She was around, he was around. He's the one that seems younger, and I don't know. I guess, yeah.
Well, I remember mentioning, I think I mentioned on the last show, was that when Lo was standing there, I remember him looking at Yuta and saying, "Put your guns down."
Yeah.
I was like, that's interesting. Also,
It's
Yuta
more involved.
speaks, yeah, Yuta speaks Chinese, so but the thing is Yuta did not know this stuff, so there's even bigger things than just, oh, you're the father of Haruto. You were also the son of Big Lo.
Set to inherit the leadership of the Triad.
That's correct. So he was one of the Chinese babies who was sent to Japan unregistered.
The Heihazi.
Yes. And so he is basically, next bloodline to take over, especially now that Bigelow's main son is now dead. And that's what kind of leads into the next chapter, which is, basically, I can't remember who tells us to go meet with Lo. I know that Kiryu basically says, look, Yuta, if you want to take care of Haruto, you need to get this target off his back because they're coming after you, which means you need to go talk to your dad and tell him to back off. Which then...
And then Somaya also asks, was it him that asked Yuta, like, you're the only one that can get an easy in, so why don't you just kill him?
Yeah, so what ended up happening was, I think Yuta kind of goes off on his own and is like, yeah, I'm going to kill Bigelow. Because he obviously does not want to accept this. I guess also because, well, they're looking for Haruto. And so he's now like, okay, well, they're trying to kill my son. Or trying to get him. So, I'm trying to imagine anything else that happens in this chapter.
I did kind of like that Bigelow didn't end up quite so comic book evil.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, is nobody really did in this.
Yeah, one of my favorite things about this game is that there's a lot more nuance. What was the name of the guy that was the leader of the other triad? The snake flower triad?
I can't remember that dude's name.
But he was kind of what I was expecting, just a more like clearly evil bad guy.
Sure.
And I really liked Bigelow, and a little bit more nuance in the character, and also the confrontation, I guess, between Yuta and Bigelow. That was an awesome scene.
Yeah, Yuta basically goes to Kamurocho and goes with Kiryu, but with Kiryu wanting him to talk to him. Yuta's there to go kill him. He gets drunk.
I like that. I like when he's basically drinking out of one bottle and he's got another bottle in his pocket, and they go to reach for it and he doesn't let them.
Yep.
So and immediately you're like, what's going on there?
Yeah, and then kind of find out he keeps claiming, he's like, I need more alcohol to go talk to this guy. And then when he gets there, Bigelow's walks in and he's like, oh, my son. So, but Yuta's like, yeah, no, I'm gonna probably burn down this entire place.
Second bottle wasn't vodka.
Yeah, he throws it, and it's actually gasoline. And he's like, yeah, we're gonna burn this place. Me and you are gonna go down together. Of course, Kiryu shows up,
Yeah, that's right, because he wanted to kill himself and Bigelow, right?
That's correct. He
To
wanted
end.
to end
Yeah.
the bloodline.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, Haruto would still be there, but nobody knows where Haruto is. Technically, nobody knows where Haruto is.
Yeah, and I think they also said it would have severed the claim to the triad, so somebody else would have just taken it anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. So, does Low? All right, it comes out. It comes out here. So we have. All right, let me explain. So that the building's on fire. Kiryu shows up and is trying to get Yuta out and make him stop killing Bigelow. So we have a boss fight with Yuta. We beat him, are able to drag both of them out. And I think this is where Low basically kind of spills the beans on everything.
Yeah.
So what ended up happening was the Triads incorporated the Jinguan Mafia once they figured out Haruka had a son by Yuta. And because they've been monitoring Yuta for a long time. That's where their buddy that was with the family that left to go to Kamurocho and become a host.
Tatsukawa.
Yes. He was with the Jinguan Mafia, helping them out. Jinguan Mafia told him to I guess kill Haruto?
Yeah.
But then he decided not to, and he was trying to chase after them, and accidentally ran them over.
Oops.
And then was killed because of it. and so Low was like, yeah, I was the one who, originally worked with the Mafia to do this, but I told them to stop. But the Jinguan Mafia didn't listen and continued on. Anything else that happened in that conversation? I know it. I remember it. They're out in the alleyway. The place is on fire and everybody's beat up.
Yeah.
I can't remember everything that was said.
Yeah, I think that's probably most of it.
Yeah.
Because it does kind of change a little bit. You end up back at the group house.
Yeah, you go back to Orobichi. And that's when the Jinguan show back up to kidnap Haruto. And we do the football pass with the baby.
No way that baby's neck didn't break in that process.
I would say no. Or how nobody dropped that baby.
Yeah.
But they come to kidnap the kid. We're trying to keep the kid away from them. Unfortunately, they get a hold of the kid and they take him over to the shipbuilding area.
Yep.
Across the I guess, is it across the sea? Is that the ocean, or I can't remember where that is.
I think it's because it's all kind of right there, right? Where the Iwami shipbuilders and the docks that you can walk on. Although that's there are a lot of docks around here. I guess the only one we can access can only accommodate one ship.
Right.
So it doesn't make it look like this big seaport town that it's meant to be, but
yeah.
Yeah, then we end up on the docks chasing him around, right?
Yeah. Going around, and we go to the shipbuilding area. Tons of fights here with different people.
It's pretty fun when you could pick up the barrels and just launch them down into the arenas.
Yes.
Blow up
so good.
10 people at a time.
So good. So I found out something, because in this game, especially toward the end here, they really liked throwing 20 guys at you.
Yeah.
I leveled up the skill that's called collateral damage.
Oh, is that when you throw one enemy into another?
Yeah, and if you hit another enemy with another enemy, it does extra damage. So at the beginning of almost every fight, I instantly grabbed a dude and did that little ring around the rosy swing and throw him, and that would usually knock out about 5 or 6 guys.
Oh, nice.
And I was like, this is perfect. I also had leveled up a skill where, so you know how you do, light, and then heavy. If you grabbed right after doing the heavy attack, so like light, heavy, and then grab, he will then do the heavy attack and then grab a hold of them and swing them and throw them, almost like how Sajima used to do.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it was nice. It was nice. I had it pretty much down to a science. In fact, I did not have a problem with any of this game.
No, I didn't either. I didn't think any of the fights were all that difficult, and the fact that I feel like I had a lot of inventory spaces and enough money to buy all the health items I needed. Plus, not to mention, I feel like even the hardest bosses all started off where, as we mentioned last time, instead of multiple health bars, you've got just one health bar.
One big one, yeah.
But at the beginning of every fight, you can just lay in with punches and get a few free, charge ups. I feel like you didn't even really need to worry about using any health items until halfway into the battle.
Yeah, when they activated heat, basically.
Yeah, exactly. So, it meant that basically I could always afford items, and the items I feel like stretched pretty far. They didn't give a ton in this game. I want to say in the whole game, I probably only picked up 6 or 7, maybe.
Yeah.
Throughout the corridor fights, but but there was still plenty to go around, so I never really felt close. The only time I even almost died, I think, was a few times when I just didn't heal quick enough, and my life bar got really low. That was the closest to death I got.
Yeah, this was a easier game than many of the other ones. I think even the Yakuza Kiwami 2 is in the same kind of style. I feel like that game was a little bit more difficult than this game was.
Yeah. Plus, it didn't have as many other fights or ladders, or maybe it was just a thing I didn't do, but ranking up fights. I did fight a few quote-unquote tough guys in the street so that they could join the clan, the Kiryu clan.
Sure.
But they were, laughably easy. Maybe there were more of those out there that would have been harder, but, I remember back when there was the guy who would steal your money in the street. He was tough to fight.
Yeah, Mr. Shakedown.
Mr. Shakedown. There wasn't a lot like that, or, people trying to recruit you into their gang, so they're going to send more and more difficult people after you to see how tough you are. There wasn't quite as many of those other opportunities for hard fights, and the bosses, but I don't really think any of them were all that hard.
Yeah. So yeah, making it into the shipyard area here, we have to fight the Jingwan Mafia leader. Once again, not a hard boss fight. After beating him, he tells us that there is a big secret to Onomichi. And before he can tell us, he gets shot directly in the head by some unknown assailant in the shadows. At the same time, we also find the captain of the not Omni Alliance, the captain of the Yomi Alliance is dead. So that was one of the things that we forgot to mention, was that captain. I can't remember what the guy's name is. Where's the purple suit?
Yeah, it was a longer name. Koshimizu?
something like that.
Oh no, the older guy. Koshimizu's the guy that's got like the almost shaved head.
Yeah. That's the second to last boss fight. Spoiler, but yeah. But yeah, this guy was working with Hirose, and was trying to negotiate safe harbor, basically, because now that this secret's out, they're going to come after him too. And Hirose was like, "Okay, I'll get you a safe harbor. I'll get you out of the town." But unfortunately, somebody got to him first, and we see him floating in the harbor with a bullet wound to the head.
Yeah, people dying left and right all of a sudden.
I know. And I think that's the end of that chapter, was when Jinhua, mafia guy, got shot and died. So now it's all about this big secret. What is the secret that everybody's trying to keep? And
that the Iwami said nobody can ever know.
Yes. So obviously the triads know what it is. So I guess we need to go talk to them again. Luckily we have Bigelow with us. He came with us whenever we saved him from the burning building. And Lo wants to have a private dialogue with us, so we go up to the roof of New Serena and speak with him. And he tells us, so here's the deal. There is a secret. I don't know what it is.
Huh.
And you're like, what? And he's like, I was bluffing. I know there is a secret, but my boss, my father, never told me what it was before he died. The only thing he gave me was this code. And I have no idea how to decipher it. It has something to do with Hiroshima and Ominichi, but I never figured out what it was.
I can't really imagine keeping a secret that long.
Yeah, he was saying 70 years.
Like, I can't understand that, because I feel like after that much time, I probably would have thought I just, like, made it up, or, like, that nobody would care anymore.
Yeah.
Right? If it was, like, some secret you maybe shared with somebody, and, like, every, let's say once a year or so, you kind of connected and said, this is still important. I don't know, like some kind of deep family secret where, like, a family bonds together over it. I could get that, but the idea that you're keeping it by yourself and you don't even know what it is. I think I would get so paranoid that I've accidentally revealed it if I don't even know
right.
what it is.
True, very true. But he still, even though he didn't know what it was, he was going to use that as leverage, basically to distance himself from the Yakuza. So it's actually revealed that while we think Bigelow's a bad guy, he technically isn't. Everything he was doing was trying to get to basically drop all of this, because they've been collaborating for years with this whole bringing Chinese children over and basically this human trafficking thing into Japan. They're doing that as kind of like a favor for keeping the secret safe. And Lo is wanting to end this. I want to get away from these guys, move back to the mainland. I don't want these guys to have anything to do with it. There's a problem, though. Lo has a son named Jimmy. He did have a son named Jimmy.
Old Jimmy Lo.
And Jimmy he wanted to be more than what he was letting on to be. He was like, I'm going to be somebody. I'm going to make you proud, Dad. And he was wanting to continue on with this. He was wanting to form these alliances to basically push out the Tojo clan, because that way we could come into Little Asia. And a lot of that stuff happened because of him. Of course, Lo was not happy about this, and they were having a meeting with the Yomi Alliance, particularly I can't remember what the guy's name is, the main bad guy of this game,
Iwami.
Iwami. They were having a meeting with him, and they were like, "Oh, well,
or Kurusu, if you go by his other name."
Well, his other name that he tried to inherit from a guy that technically hadn't died yet. So he basically, we see a flashback of them having a meeting, and they're like, "Hey, there's little Asia burning. Hey, thanks, Jimmy." And he's like, "You did this behind my back?" And he's talking to him in Chinese, right? Yeah. And then Iwami answers in Chinese. He's like, "Yeah, I know everything you've been saying this whole time. I also know that you don't know what the secret is, and you've been trying to use that as leverage against us. We're not playing that game anymore, and you either let us do this, or we will kill you."
Yeah, there's a whole lot of leveraging.
Yeah. And so, yeah, he wasn't too happy about it, unfortunately, and it ended up getting Jimmy killed. So Lo is... Basically, he's like... Originally, I was looking for revenge, which is why we did this whole thing. But now I just want to go back home. I want to mourn my son and just go back. And that's basically what he said he was going to do. He's like, "I'm giving you what my father gave me, which is the cipher that I know I was never able to figure out. Maybe you can figure it out. I'm out of here. I'm leaving, because obviously the Yomi Alliance is coming after me now. So I'm going to go." So he goes. Now we're going to be going on to the big reveal of what the secret is and who's been protecting it all this time. But yeah, we move on to the next chapter, and we have to do the scavenger hunt.
Yeah, I thought as soon as I saw this, I was like, "You gotta be kidding me! I don't know where all these stones are."
I didn't know where all these stones were either. But in the first episode, I was like, "Oh, it's really cool," because they have like a little poem on them, and it gets you. It's like it feels like a living town, right?
Yeah.
Why did I ever say that? At this point, I was like, I'm not going to be able to find all these. So I looked up a fact, and I was like, all right, tell me where they all are.
Yeah, I did too. This was another part of the game. Did you do the sub-story called Onomichio?
Yeah, that was the one where you're playing as the mascot?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did that one a couple play sessions ago.
I only just did it in this one, I think.
Well, there you go. That was a good one.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of funny.
Yep.
He's like, "You got to be kidding me!" I feel like that's a classic Yakuza trope: is him doing something like goofy or dorky and just being like, this isn't really my thing.
I still love what was it? It was Kiryu. I can't remember what game it was, but Kiryu, they were like asking Kiryu to come help him with something, and Kiryu walks in, and there's like 5 or 6 guys in baby diapers.
Yeah.
And Kiryu doesn't even say anything. He just stares there and then just turns around and walks away.
Or like when they're asking him to be an actor in ads or voice acting, or there's all kinds of like situations where he's like, "I'm uncomfortable."
Yeah.
Classic Kiryu.
That's right. So, so we have to figure out this cipher. Kind of find out it is basically on all these poem stones that are spread throughout Omanichi.
And so 7 or 9 of them.
There's like 9, I think.
Yeah.
And they're all over town. You got to find them, write it down. And eventually we figure it out, along with the Hirose boys. Now, I should mention that it's also revealed who has been helping out with this keeping secrets thing. And we actually have to talk to the Hirose family about this. And they're not happy about it because they think that we're lying. But Bigelow told us, no, I know exactly who it is. And unfortunately, it is Patriarch Hirose himself has been working with the Yomni Alliance to make sure that this never gets out. So, when you go and tell the rest of the gang, they're like, our boss would not do that.
Yeah, how dare you even think he would?
Yeah, our boss is not going to do that. Yeah, exactly. And we had a fight with him. We had a fight with, what's his name? Nagawa.
Yeah, which is another, like, I actually really like Nagamo as a character, and this type of thing where, you know, I wanted to be like, come on, why would you be so blind? I mean, I know he's your patriarch, but Kiryu also doesn't have any reason to be lying. Why wouldn't you at least entertain the idea? And I kind of like how they laid some of that out, where they were like, look, you can choose not to believe, but what are you going to do when he shows up and tries to defend the secret? Right? I kind of liked that Nagamo's clearly, like, ever since the first scene of the very game, he's such an emotionally driven character.
Yeah.
And, you know, even here where he's just like, I don't believe you, I feel this to be true, and, you know, therefore I don't, you know, it's bullshit that you would even, you know, even slander his name by saying that. But, and then I love that the response to that is, okay, but then what are you going to do when he shows up? Like, when evidence arrives on the doorstep, what are you going to do?
Yeah. And when he tries, and they said, basically, he will kill you to keep this secret safe.
Yeah.
Are you going to let him kill you? So,
I love that back and forth with Nagamo, because he's so impulsive and he's so, like, self-assured of his, you know, his convictions and his thoughts. I thought the game handled that well to say, yeah, all right, well,
yeah,
it's good for this moment, but what about the future?
Yep. So,
and he's like, you're no longer my Aniki. You know,
and then he changed his back after we beat him up.
yeah, exactly.
What, you're calling him Aniki again? Dude, keep changing your mind every 5 seconds.
But I guess importantly, it doesn't come off to me as like inconsistent writing. It's just very clearly that he's an emotional character, and he kind of does just change his mind a lot.
Yeah. So after deciphering, it tells us to go over to the shipyard again. Making our way to the shipyard, we find, I don't know how this guy's. The guy, the Pompadour guy, I can't remember what his name is. I don't know how he is saying, oh, the code's telling us to go this way. How the hell do you know that?
Yeah.
Because he said holding a GPS in your hand or anything like that.
Yeah, exactly. Because he's like, oh, this isn't where it's pointing us to go. And I'm like, well, it seems really specific for something you've deciphered that's been around for like 75 years.
Yeah. But yeah. It eventually leads us to this kind of like locked off area. And unfortunately, we are stopped by Hirose. Or, well, a masked man, but we know who it is.
Yeah. We know his, how well he can use masks as well.
Exactly.
Must be a family thing.
And he is there. I have to say, so I had to look him up because the guy looked familiar to me, and I was like, "Who is this dude?" So he actually played the blind swordsman, Zatoichi. If you've ever seen that movie,
I have not.
Okay, it's a really good movie. I think it was made like in 2002 or 3, somewhere around there. which was kind of like a remake of the old black and white movies. That was The Blind Swordsman.
Is he the blind swordsman?
He is the blind swordsman, and that's where I knew him from. So he's a well-known actor. He is also getting up there in age, but seeing this old man dressed in all black with a butcher's knife, disappearing and reappearing through fog, like he's Michael Myers.
Yeah, exactly. With that knife, he did look like kind of a slasher.
Yeah, I was just like, this is so weird.
It's also not the only time in this play session that, like, I feel like this series has a disconnect between the way somebody looks with their clothes on and the way somebody looks with their clothes off, and that's
you are absolutely correct.
Like, everybody, no matter how chubby they look, is really, really jacked.
Yes, you're correct. Like Iwami.
Yeah, like the younger ones, Suneo.
Yeah, Suneo. All of them. I'm just like, okay.
This guy is like a suit, the definition of a suit through and through. How can he be this strong?
Yes. And I mean, he's jacked more than freaking Kiryu is.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, what? This nerdy dude? With the glasses? The businessman?
Yeah, it's anyone.
Yeah. Who also looks like he's probably in his late 40s? Early 50s? I'm just like, what? But then you got Hirose, who, I mean, let's be honest, he's played by a man who was born in 1945.
And in the character, you're introduced to him, he's sitting around eating ice cream.
Yeah.
He's no badass Yakuza, like, killing people anymore, at least. I mean, in his past, he's done some shady stuff.
Oh, apparently he is, because he can, like, he can come up out of the shadows. Like, I like there's the one scene where it's like a quick time event where Kiryu's looking around because there's fog. Like, I can't remember what he hit. He hit something and it made a bunch of fog. Pipe. It hit, yeah. And so there's fog everywhere. So he's like dipping in and out of the fog. And there's this one where it's like, because there's not much animation during fights, especially in the face. So it has this deadpan face, and he comes up from the ground with the butcher knife.
Yeah, and slashing upward.
Yeah, and it's like this deadpan face, and I'm just like, what the hell is this? It looks so weird.
Fighting mannequins.
I have this 77-year-old man trying to attack me with a butcher's knife. Like Jason Voorhees. And I'm just like, what?
Yeah, something about the Yakuza-fication process that turns these people in quite jacked.
Yeah, that's. I saw that a couple of times. Like this last boss fight, I was just like, geez, look at this guy. Yeah. Look at him. But so fighting Hirose, we beat him up, and then
the elder Iwami shows up.
Yeah, I was about to say I don't know his actual name, but the patriarch of the Yomi Alliance shows up, another older man, and he tells Hirose, "Are you going to protect this?" And Hirose is like, "I can't."
Is he? Is this when? Is it after he's shot that we get his life story?
Yes, we get his life story. He tells us, like, basically how it felt to be with the Yomi Alliance. So he was just a punk kid from back in the 50s, I think, and he made it to this shipyard and was going to, like, steal a bunch of stuff, and he got caught, and it was actually a young Iwami saying, okay, well, I tell you what, why don't you join me? I'll show you how to live your life. That's when they formed the Omni Alliance. He was like one of the kids that was, he raised up almost like Kazuma and Kiryu a little bit.
Yeah. It's one thing, I mean, the ending of this game drives it home a lot, but there's definitely a lot of like that type of relationship parallels.
Yeah. A lot of father, son, parent, child stuff, especially with this game.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he basically brought him up. He said he was like a father figure to him, and all he wanted to do was make him proud. And then one day he told me, I need you to keep a secret. I need you to be able to lay your life down for it. And I can never tell you what it is.
You will never know the secret.
Can you do that? And he was like, you sure? And he went around killing a bunch of people, including everybody who's in the Hirose family's father.
Yeah.
And then recruited them like some kind of sicko Batman. And that's all the guys that you've been hanging out with?
Yeah, that's weird.
It was weird, right? Because we were just seeing him like butcher knife everybody. Just like going up to guys and killing them. And he's like, and then I recruited their child.
Which, I mean, I guess they do make the allusion to like, oh, he must have felt bad about killing the parents.
Sure. But then somehow the Stockholm syndrome of, oh yeah, now I see him like he's my dad. No, he murdered your dad.
Yeah.
I don't know. Sometimes this is a little ridiculous.
Yeah, it is.
Yakuza is ridiculous, but then they always try to push the story to be serious. In this game, it got slightly ridiculous in the story. Just a little bit.
Yeah, I agree. I guess I'd say I like the story of the game because they just set it up as a very clear mystery, and you know, again, it's easy. Like, what happened to Haruka, and then what's the mystery of Onamichi? But it doesn't make a ton of sense, and they do kind of strong arm some things into the story to make it try to make sense.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, so we show off what the secret is. I can't remember what the guy's name is, but he unleashes it. He says, "I found the lever and I pulled it, and out from the water basically separates, and out from the water comes this gigantic battleship." And I was just like, "What? What?" The Yamato.
The Yamato
Mark II, yes, the Mark II, which was the Yamato was a World War II battleship that was used, and it's explained to us basically that after the war, the government, not the U.S. government, the Japanese government asked the shipbuilding company, the Iwami Shipbuilding Company, to continue making this battleship. And they worked on it for multiple years, up into the 50s, up until where we saw,
despite
Hirose.
the military restrictions that they're not allowed to have.
Yes, so everything was turned off. It was kind of like a shadowy kind of deal where they wanted to continue making this ornament. I guess just in case, I don't know, but they were supposed to be completely, free of all that stuff. And the reason why they wanted to keep it a secret was because, well, this basically helped form a lot of the Yakuza. With the money that they got, they were able to form the Omni Alliance. And then they realized, well, I have a lot of politicians backing the Omni Alliance. I can then influence the politicians, maybe have them create laws that are in our favor. So, in essence, you're looking in the past 70 years, the political government of Japan could possibly been influenced by the criminal organizations, which is a huge deal that obviously nobody wants to be let out.
Yeah. And which is interesting that they didn't do a little bit more with that, given that it's been kind of a running theme in the series. Right? The Yakuza and corrupt cops and, how far up the chain does it go?
Yeah. Apparently it goes all the way to the top.
Yeah.
So
more than just the Tokyo Police Department.
Yes. So, well, cat's out of the bag now. Everybody knows about it. Everybody knows that there's a battleship.
Yeah, it's just sitting there.
In the harbor, and they're just like, where'd this come from? And obviously people are investigating it. Tons of news outlets are investigating it and stuff like that. But I feel like it's still unknown of what this thing actually is or what it means. Trying to imagine who else here. Young Iwami comes in to his father's and has him killed, but claims it's suicide. And the sole purpose of it is because, well, you let the secret out, so it doesn't matter anymore. You're useless. So we don't need you anymore, so we're going to kill you. I'm going to take over the Omni Alliance. And I'm going to get the moniker of the top. It was known as the Fixer, who was this high-ranking politician who was in the pockets of the Yakuza. So the one guy who basically was the liaison between the two, which was known as how do you pronounce it? The Kuruzuru?
Yeah, Kurusu.
Kurusu. And he's already made a deal with the current Kurusu guy, who is a very old man who is going to be passing in the next couple of hours, apparently. But he has a meeting with him saying you need to tie up all these loose ends, which includes you need to kill Kiryu Kazuma. Because he knows all about this. So that's what we're going to do. Head back to Kamurocho. And while we're there, we have to meet up with the Tojo clan. Basically, we now realize who all the players are. It's between the current acting chairman of the Tojo clan, which is Sugai. And obviously Iwami. So they're combining together to make sure that this happens. And they're trying to also run out the Tojo clan. So one of the things that they're trying to do is basically take over everything under a different moniker, basically. Start a new Yakuza, basically. Where they remove all the old people from the Tojo clan and bring in a new one, right?
Yeah.
And then the Omni Alliance it would be all of us. So we'll just have a nice umbrella kind of thing. So Kiryu's out for blood, or at least we think he is. So we're going to go to the Millennium Tower to look for Shigai. Well, he's not there, but Somiya is. And unfortunately, Somiya is not actually with this agreement. And he's watching a monitor, and the monitor there has the Omni Alliance guys and the Tojo clan guys. So Shigai and Iwami are there, along with how do you pronounce her name? Kiyomi. They say Kiyomi-san. But she's there.
With Yoshimizu, right?
That's right. And they say, you guys need to fight. So we fight, and then it's like, well, you screwed up, Somiya. You were supposed to kill Kiryu. Now we're going to kill your wife, or your ex-wife. And he's like, nope, don't. And he's like, okay, I'll tell you what. Kiryu, if you kill Somiya, well, by the time I count to 3, we won't kill her.
And he says, I'm not a patient man.
Yep. And so Somiya pulls out a dagger, and he's like, do it. He counts down, and Kiryu's like, I'm not killing you. So Somiya stabs himself.
At the last second.
At the last second. And says, there, I did it. I'm going to die.
Let her go.
Let her go. And he tells her, he has his final moments. He's like, my daughter, I promise you I never laid a hand on her. You need to find her. And as he's getting ready to collapse, both the head honchos leave the room. And what was his name? You called him?
Koshimizu?
Koshimizu has a gun to her head. And he takes the camera. What's that?
It's such a funny statement. You're like, yeah, he pulls out a gun, he puts it to her head, and then he turns the monitor off.
He turns the monitor off, and then you hear a gun go off. Which I knew right away. She's not dead.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. They would not have done that in that order.
Yeah.
I also like how this entire chapter plays out with them in suits.
Yeah.
Right? Because they were at Hirose's funeral.
Yeah, I forgot to mention Hirose's dead.
Yeah, he doesn't make it, and everyone, including Kiryu, is in a black tux, basically. But then one of the things I loved, I mean, not like Yakuza lacks for style, but that scene of them walking down the street like a little gang.
Yeah. And
everybody's like clearing out of their way, and they do like a close up on every single person's face.
Yeah. That's pretty good.
And I'm like, you can this is the definition of like, we're about to go beat some ass.
That's right.
We got business to take care of.
I did like the Millennium Tower fight with Somiya, because it takes place in that bar.
Yeah. And they throw you or you get thrown behind the bar.
Yeah, you get thrown behind the bar, and then he's got that sword. You knock the sword out, and like Kiryu's able to knock it out of the way, and so we have a fist fight for a second there. I was like, okay, this is a really cool scene.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I put it on Twitter today. Unfortunately, after beating him, so I beat him using a heat action where I beat him with a bottle over the face.
Yeah.
And so that last hit, it does the slow-mo, you've beat him, and you get the experience points. I hit him, and it went into slow-mo, and then it went away from slow-mo, and then you see like the ragdoll physics of him laying there. And I was like, yep, that's Yakuza for you.
Yep.
But unfortunately, Somiya does not make it. He commits, as my old boss used to say, he commits Harry Carey. And he dies. But before he does die, he tells everybody in the room, find my daughter and take care of her.
Yep.
And
another character in this game, right? That's just been a little bit back and forth. Yeah. Definitely not evil, even when he's on the wrong side or the bad side.
Yep. Morally ambiguous.
Yep.
So,
I think this game does that better than any other game in the series has.
Yeah, it definitely has. So there's that. Now the only thing left to do is go and take down the two leaders
and their pet helicopters. Multiple helicopters.
That was in the Millennium Tower.
Yeah, on the way up. Yeah,
on the way up. And see, I thought there was only one helicopter chasing us, and I shot it down, and all of a sudden there's another one there. I'm like, what?
Yeah, spared no expense.
I guess it spared no bazookas either.
So I thought it was crazy.
2 bazookas.
Yeah, I mean, a bazooka to take down a helicopter, that's almost like, all right, obviously. I thought it was crazy when they came to the Hirose family house.
With a bazooka?
And then took a bazooka out in the middle of the street.
And freaking missed the building?
Yeah.
Hit a random building in the side? And I was like, well, there goes your one shot.
Oh, did he miss? I thought he hit the second floor, like where Hirose was eating the ice cream.
No, I thought it hit another building. It didn't hit the building straight ahead.
Oh, I thought it did. I thought it went right past them when, like, dodged. I thought one of them was going to get splattered by it.
Oh, no, maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I could have swore it hit a different building. I'm like, well, what the hell was that?
Well, it clearly doesn't decimate the building because you're back in it 5 minutes later.
True. Very true.
So maybe it never hit it.
But yeah, there's also multiple scenes where people are just getting, like, horribly stabbed. Yuta gets stabbed on the way up to the Millennium Tower, but he's okay.
Yeah.
Who else? Somebody else gets stabbed. Or gets slashed pretty bad.
Nagamo eventually gets slashed.
Yeah, Nagamo gets slashed pretty bad, but he's okay. You know. I guess if you're doing the slashing to yourself, that's when you die. But yeah, so that's the only thing left is to go back to Hiroshima, stop these guys. And this is where the game, I feel like, the game said, we need to wrap up right now. Because after this cutscene, we get the whole, are you sure you're done in Kamurocho? Yes. Okay, we're going back. We go back, and literally it cuts to them beating up dudes in the harbor.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, what? Like, okay, so we're just going to skip all that?
At least this is better than earlier when we left Onamichi, because there was one point where we go back to our old room.
Yep.
And they say,
just to sleep.
We'll meet you there. But then I chose to, like, sleep till tonight. And then I wake up and I'm like, oh, they never showed up. I guess I'll sleep again. I'm like, sleep till the next day.
Oh, no.
And then I did that 3 times. I picked every option of sleep. And then I was like, all right, this was absolutely critical to get out of here as quickly as possible. And they're like, we'll meet you over there. And then I slept for 3 days. And then we went to Kamurocho. So clearly they would have all been incredibly confused what Kiryu was doing, sleeping for 3 days.
That's true. Man. I guess you really needed that sleep, man.
Yeah.
Rest up.
Rest up before the big fight.
Yep. So yeah, we cut to, we're back at the shipping yard, and we're beating up dudes, and now we have 2 more boss fights. So we have Iwami there. We have
Koshimizu again.
Koshimizu
For like the 3rd time, I feel.
Yep. And then we also have Shurai. I don't know how you pronounce it. I'd always call it Sugar Eye. That's what I say. Sugar Eye. But yeah, we have a big fight with a whole bunch of guys. And then we have to fight him twice, right? I mean, we beat his health bar all the way down, then he pulls out a knife, we have to fight him again.
Yeah. He's really easy the first time, though, so I'm like, this doesn't feel right.
Yeah. And then we have our final boss fight after that. So here's what happens. Before the final boss fight, we have they reveal that they have Haruka and Haruto kidnapped with guns to their head. And they basically say, all right, you don't move, basically. They're not even giving an ultimatum. They're just like, don't move, I'm going to kill you. And so, who beats Kiryu over the head with that pipe?
That's Sugai.
Sugai does, right?
Yeah. Because I was like, all right, there's no way that guy's going to take his suit off and be jacked. And so the only way he can actually fight him is because he's like, don't you move a muscle or we'll shoot her.
Yeah.
And so he just stands there and takes like 6 pipe blows to the face.
I mean, bad.
Yeah.
And then...
I mean, one of those would have killed somebody.
Yes. And Wami comes and punches him in the stomach. He falls over. And Wami's like, I'm giving you 10 seconds to stand back up or we're going to shoot Haruka in the head.
Yeah, these rules are out of control. Don't move or we'll shoot her. Get up in 10 seconds or we'll shoot her.
Yeah. And so then all of a sudden the Hirose boys show up. They get the guy holding the gun. They're like, okay, we'll protect Haruka. You just take him out, man. So Kiryu gets back up. People are like, you should be dead right now. How are you alive?
And then you get another one of those, like, Kiryu being a badass statements, like the last punch, where he's like, you're about to find out who exactly it is you're messing with.
Yep. And we have the boss fight with Iwami, who is totally jacked.
Yeah.
We have a shirtless fight.
Which I like 6 games in, they're still like, when he rips his suit off, they're still giving you the close-up of his tattoo.
Yep. Everybody's got their tattoo. This was the biggest joke of a boss fight I've ever had. Like, yeah. I don't think... This wasn't difficult at all. In fact, so I had a couple of the Staminans, Stamina X's.
Yeah.
I beat him up a little bit until he went into heat mode. Then I popped my ultimate extreme heat, and I did the XXXXXXX thing.
Yeah.
And did that once. I took a couple more staminas, did the extreme heat again, and that was it.
Yep.
And I was just like, I felt like I was cheesing the game, but I mean, it's in the game. Like, this extreme heat, and the game suggests it multiple times.
Yeah, and like you said earlier, the game wants you to use it.
Yeah, I mean, it's and you get it so easily. I'm just like, all right, well, I guess I'm just going to beat the hell out of this guy. And that's what I did. Like, this fight lasted literally a minute and 10 seconds.
Yeah, I think it's weird. It's almost like it's not balanced right, because they clearly try to make a couple of these fights more difficult by giving the enemy a way to break through your, that extreme heat multi-hit combo.
Sure.
But even if, like, they knock you out of it, you still have enough time to try it a second time before it runs out.
Yeah.
And like usually if I miss the first time, it works the second time.
Well, see, that was the thing. It was like I'd leveled up my heat almost to maximum, where I had like 5 of those orbs. I mean, extreme heat. I could get off like 3 of those combos if I tried hard enough. Definitely get 2 of them off. Yeah. 2 of them will wreck a health bar. So,
yeah, and he definitely wasn't any harder than any of the other bosses.
No. In fact, he was easier because he didn't have a weapon.
Yeah.
Typically, if they've got a weapon like a sword or something like that, they're able to slash you a couple of times and kind of stun lock you for a second. But, no, I mean, this guy was just fisticuffs. I mean, I beat the crap out of this guy. It was easy.
Yeah, I actually thought Koshimizu was harder because he would bother you while you were taking on the minions.
Correct.
There was actually quite a few, not even bosses, just like some of the, I don't know what you even call them, the little captains of the fights.
Yeah.
that would like launch themselves at you while you were punching somebody else.
Precisely. So I don't know. That was.
I mean, he makes sense story wise as the main guy, but he didn't feel like a big end boss.
No, not at all. But yeah, but after beating him, we get a nice long cutscene. Iwami's laying on the ground there, and he yells for Shigai to end it. Shigai pulls out a gun and is getting ready to shoot Haruka. He misses a few times, and then Yuta jumps in the way, getting ready to take the shot.
And then the gun goes off.
The gun goes off, and kind of find out Kiryu stood in front of Yuta, took the shot, and then takes 3 more shots, and then falls over. I guess what? The Hirose boys surround Shigai. Shigai reloads and says, "Well, there goes my dream," and then shoots himself in the head.
Yeah, for a second I was like, isn't it empty? Why is he putting it up to his head?
No, I saw him put another bullet in.
Yeah, good.
So, yeah. So the only person left alive was Iwami. Unfortunately, Kiryu is saying his goodbyes. He's wanting to make sure that Haruka and Haruto's okay. And it's shown as if he's dead.
Yep.
We all know he's not dead. But yeah, I was like, it would have been nice if I hadn't seen that trailer for Like a Dragon 8. But unfortunately, because I would be like, oh man, Kiryu's dead, which would have been a fine send off. He protected his daughter and grandson. The end, right?
Yep.
But we get a nice story wrap up, basically showing everything. So, and I did like how they handled it. So we finally see Daigo and Majima, who haven't been in this game at all.
Yeah.
And I figured they would do more with Majima.
Yeah, I think so. He was almost not in this game.
He was not. Basically, they're riding in a car. Majima, Sajima, and Daigo. And they're all basically talking about, all right, so what are we going to do? Let's get revenge on Kiryu. Let's go get those Yomi Alliance guys. We'll take them over. They're scrambling right now. And Daigo's like, no, I'm not going to do it. And they're like, why not? And it cuts in between certain scenes. So we see Kiryu, before he died, writing a letter.
Which was interesting, because even in the scene that happened earlier, I was like, that's weird. What's he doing over at that table?
Right.
Because he's not, he's not the kind of guy who in the middle of a conversation just sits down to... I didn't know he was writing even at the time. I thought maybe he was reading the newspaper or something. But I'm like, that doesn't make sense for Kiryu either.
Right.
What is he doing over there?
But yeah, he's writing a letter. And what you think is he's writing a letter to Haruka. Because he says, even though I have no right to say this, I see myself as your father.
Yeah.
And, I want you to do this and this and this. And he's basically telling all the regrets that he had, all of the shortcomings, also everything that he always wanted to say to them. I want to say this to you.
And it's a little on the nose, but he's like, I've spent a lot of time with families and fathers and children and parents and children recently. And a lot, I can see the way that having a poor relationship can lead to such repercussions throughout life and really damage the people around that kind of failed relationship.
Yeah.
So this is where I actually really like this part of the game. I thought it's such a good set of character moments, and that self-reflection or that reflection of what you see in the world around you and taking that and internalizing it and saying, I want to improve my life or my relationships because I've seen how damaging it can be. I mean, that's a level of kind of observation and reflection that very few games I feel like get to.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. It was really good, but while it's showing these cutscenes and it's showing hear you talking in the background, but showing scenes, it flashes back to Daigo with Majima, and Majima's reading the letter, and it was actually Kiryu was writing this letter to Daigo, saying, "I feel like I'm a father to you.
I brought you into the Yakuza fold.
Yeah, you have become part of my family. I am part of your family. I want to see our family thrive." And he basically is saying in this letter, I know what you're going to want to do. You want to take revenge for me against the Yomi Alliance. But I'm telling you, let this go.
Yeah.
For the sake of the Tojo clan, for the sake of you, and for the sake of me, let this go. End it. Don't worry about me. Forget about me. And it's basically, it shows Haruto taking his first steps.
Yeah, that's another piece. That juxtaposition there I thought was also awesome.
Yes, it was.
Haruto's taking his first steps into their life, and he's taking his steps out of their life.
That's correct. So that was really good too. Basically, Kiryu shows Akiyama meeting up with Date, saying, "Tell me the truth. Is Kiryu dead?" And Date's like, "I saw his body. He's dead." And Akiyama's like, "One day you'll tell me the truth." And kind of walks out. But then we cut to basically Date there with, or he's watching from a distance. Kiryu's laying in bed, wrapped up from being shot, so he is alive. And there is an unknown man sitting with him with a big pile of cash, saying, "I want you to keep your mouth shut about all of this." Basically, this whole battleship stuff, the Yakuza has been part of the political climate this entire time for the past 70 years. You are pretty much the only person that knows about this stuff now. Everybody else is either dead or doesn't care. I'm giving you this money to keep your mouth shut. And Kiryu's like, "So you must be one of these politicians they keep talking about. And you're trying to pay me with hush money." He's like, "I am not going to keep my mouth shut. Under one condition." And what's your condition? Daigo Dojima is released from prison right now.
I like when the guy gets all like, "How dare you?"
Yeah, you have no idea what position are you in to give me these kind of orders. And Kiryu basically just fires back with, "You have no idea who you're dealing with."
Yeah. Yeah, don't you know, like, if you've done your research, you know what happens when people mess with my family.
Yep.
There's so many, like, one-liners in this game that are just Kiryu being, like, as badass as possible.
That's true. So he had two conditions. One was Daigo was released from prison. What's the other one?
That you forged my death certificate.
That's right. That's right. So I want you to basically make me dead. Date hears this and busts in. He's like, "You're not doing that." He's like, "Shut up, Date. I'm doing this." He's like, "If you do this, you do realize you can never see anybody from your family ever again. Haruto, nobody from Morning Glory." And Kiryu's like, "I understand that. This is best for everybody." And so he agrees. And like you said, the final little scene is basically Haruto's taking his first steps in Morning Glory. Haruto looks out and we see a silhouette of Kiryu standing there. And as Haruto is taking his first steps, it is matching Kiryu walking away from Morning Glory. And as you said, Haruto's walking into his life while Kiryu is walking out. And I think the last line is Haruka saying to Haruto, "Hang in there." And that's the end.
Yep.
It was a really good ending. I like that ending a lot. If only they would have stuck with it. Because that's not the ending. We've already seen the trailer for Like a Dragon 8, and Kiryu's going to show up as a main character, or at least it looks like he's going to be a main character.
Yeah.
So I guess we're not done with Kiryu. Granted, Kiryu looks like he's an old man. I don't know when Like a Dragon 8 takes place. Good question. Let's find out, shall we?
Yeah, could it be set before this?
Okay, Dragon take place. Let's use name outside Japan. Yakuza Like a Dragon. Plot.
Yeah, I wonder if they've even got that information out yet.
Well, Like a Dragon 7. Ooh. Let's see here. Like a Dragon 7. I don't know. Wiki. Here we go. Release date ratings. Come on, man. This is taking forever. Trying to find this. I just want to see plot. I have no idea.
We'll find out at some point.
Year. Apparently it takes place in 2020.
Okay, so he's alive, or they've cloned him, or someone's pretending to be him.
And what? Yakuza 6 took place in 2016?
Yeah, that sounds right.
So 4 years later, so Kiryu's now in his mid-50s. I guess. Okay. Fine.
Yeah, could happen.
Yeah. So how do you feel, Matt? How do you feel about this game?
I actually kind of love this game.
Yeah, me too.
It's funny because I didn't necessarily love the story. I thought it was good. They amped up the mystery, even if, I don't know. It did all kind of tie together. I mean, I feel like the first half you're trying to figure out what happened to Haruka, and the second half you're trying to figure out the secret of Onomichi. But it all is kind of tied together. I think You're right. It gets a little ridiculous to keep those things tied together. So while I like the story, and I do think it was tighter than the other games recently. I don't know that it was like a super well written story.
Yeah, yeah. That ending was definitely kind of
Yeah.
rushed, I felt like.
But I do think the characterization in this game is absolutely top notch.
Yes, yes.
Like almost every character in this game, even like my fifth or sixth favorite character in this game, I like probably more than any of the side characters from any of the recent games. 3, 4, 5 anyway.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
Nagumo
definitely.
was hands down my favorite non-main character.
Yeah.
And then just the whole relationship, Hirose and the family, like there's a lot of ridiculousness, but also kind of sadness and trust and betrayal and just so many good character moments. And then tie that together with even just a scene like Kiryu's writing that letter in the end, and those are some powerful scenes.
Absolutely.
And so much of the game being based around Kiryu's, trying to still kind of put right, basically all taking place after the end of the last game, and the sentiment that Haruka's life is going to be kind of messed up because of Kiryu, and he's trying to put things right and figure out what happened to her, and it's her kind of boyfriend and her son and her adopted father basically, and Kiryu, and I don't know, so much of it was familial in nature that I don't know, those bonds and the way they kind of stretch and break, and the different, like they said, parent-child relationships. I thought all that was really good, really well done, and kind of really thematic to
Yeah.
the central bit of Kiryu feeling like Haruka's father, and revealed at the end also Daigo's father is what he feels like, but just the parallels between those kind of central relationships to his life and all the other things that happen in this game. I thought that was all just really tight thematically about family and what it means and how it can get messed up, and
Yeah.
wonder if that all of that in the letter and everything is just like, I'm gonna still, after all this, I'm still gonna mess up Haruka's life somehow. So I should probably just not be in it.
Yeah. I'm just going to leave. I thought it was absolutely fantastic. There were a few issues I had here and there with the game. There was ever so slightly a little bit of padding occasionally.
Yeah.
Nothing like, God, nothing like, to be honest with you, 1
Yeah, 1 and 2.
and, well, even 4 and 5 had a lot of padding too.
Yeah.
But no, I thought this was like a pretty good length. It got a little long in the tooth there for a second. But then all of a sudden it just kind of got rushed at the end. I'm just like, okay, well, you don't have to do that either. You can have a nice balance. I really like the engine a lot.
Yeah.
I like how it plays and feels, and everything's very dynamic.
Yep.
It's really good. It's really good. Yakuza 6 is really good.
I mean, this is definitely my second favorite of the games.
Okay, so that was my next question was, give me your rank.
It's definitely 0, 6, 2. Then probably like 3145 or 3415.
Okay. I think you. So you have Yakuza 1 as second to last.
Maybe third to last.
Okay. So I will probably. I have to rank mine. So from worst to best. Worst to best. Yakuza 4. 5, 3, 1, 2, 6, 0.
Yeah, I can see that.
That's what I got. I still think 0 is masterclass when it comes to telling a story.
Yeah. What a way to start this series too, though. Like, I really, really didn't know what to expect, and that game just blew me away.
Yeah, Yakuza 0 is legit. That's a really, really good one. 6 is really good too, though. 2 is really good. And I still have a soft spot for 1. Does 1 have a lot of padding? Yes. But I don't know. Like, when I first played Yakuza 1, like the first Yakuza on PlayStation 2, I was kind of blown away by it. I was just like, wow, this is weird. This is a very different experience. For the life of me, I don't know what made me pick this game up. I just did. I think it was the cover.
Yeah, it's a cool cover.
And it was just, it was just Kiryu and his giant dragon tattoo. But I picked it up the same day I picked up Metal Gear Solid 3.
That's a pretty good day of games.
That was definitely. It was when I came back to gaming after taking like a year off to go to college.
Yep, strong on the Japanese influence.
Yep. But we're not done yet. We've still got Like a Dragon.
Yeah.
Yakuza. It's the official title is Yakuza: Like a Dragon, which I guess is what they're going to call it from now on. I have no idea what they're going to call the new game. Is it going to be called Yakuza Like a Dragon 2?
Huh.
Possibly. Or maybe they'll just finally just call it Like a Dragon 8. So.
Yeah, just
know.
Make it a little more confusing. Where's the first 6 Like a Dragons?
Oh, right. So I don't know. We'll see what they finally come up. But we are going to be doing Like a Dragon as well. Will we do Judgment? I don't know. Probably one day. I just don't feel like doing it right now, if we're being honest.
I don't necessarily want to do it now, but I definitely do want to do it at some point.
Yeah. But I want to do Like a Dragon soon.
Yeah.
Like I don't know why. Because it's cool looking. That's why.
Yeah, and I want to see something different within the world.
Exactly. Judgment is we're doing another Yakuza game. That Like a Dragon is completely different, and that's what I want to try. So I'm excited for that one. As far as the rest of November goes, I'm not entirely sure what we're going to do. Matt, I know you're doing NaNoWriMo.
Yeah, as of this moment, 9 days in, I'm still on track.
Oh, look at you! You're still doing it.
Better than most years. Coming up on 15,000 words, so about a third of the way done.
Nice. There you go. You still got time to spare then, 'cause it's only the 9th.
Yeah.
Okay, but we'll see what we have going on. I may bring in Anthony to do either a short game or even possibly we'll do another Internet Mysteries episode like we did that one time.
Nice.
Especially now that the new season of Unsolved Mysteries is on Netflix, we got a new a little itch for it. So we'll see what happens there. But we do have an email. I forgot about that. Let me read out this email here. Comes in from Dustin, and he sent this on November 2nd. So this was actually for the last week, but it's okay. He says, "Hey, look, Ma," an email. Hey, guys. Sorry about the lack of emails. I keep getting distracted, but I finally got one out. First, can we mention those sweet sweater pants? Like, what's the function of those? Is it to catch sweat dripping off your belly when you're doing some intense gaming, or what?
Like Nagamo? The ones that Nagamo was wearing all the time?
Yeah. Everybody had their Kamurocho outfit, and then everybody had their Omanichi outfit.
Gotta stay style appropriate.
I guess. I did like the opening, the mystery white powder, and you're wondering what's going on. I knew exactly what it was when she gave him the warm water. So why is Haruka getting hit by a car even a mystery? Where is Mr. Toadman, the flower guy, and all his damn cameras? Go hit him up. Do an arena fight for him. Watch the footage. Problem solved. That is a good damn question.
Yep, that's where we've always gone up until today.
We did not see the florist at all.
You could have saved us a lot of time.
I know, right? Also, Kiryu straight up kidnapping babies in broad daylight isn't a good look for him. And were there any other babies in that nursery? That place was trashed after I was done. I'm surprised Haruto survived that.
Yeah, or the football passes.
It's true. Trying to walk around the town and comfort the baby. Why do they have you shake the controller? I never did figure out which direction they wanted me to do, so I just shook the shit out of the controller until he calmed his ass down. Also, it gets me that he's just carrying him through town. No stroller, no baby carrier, nothing, just a baby in his hand. No diaper bag, no bottles. Does he know what he's even doing? Good thing you kidnapped a baby with no idea on how to raise one, Kiryu. That's a good question. Also, I do not have to shake my controller because I was playing on Xbox, which does not have motion controls. So I just had to move my thumbsticks.
Yeah, we had to shake it. We had to pull it up and down.
Yep. It's also unnerving how he just nonchalantly hands off baby duties to complete strangers he just met. A barmaid has nothing better to do. Also, she abandoned her own daughter, so is she the best parent? And a group of young Yakuza, they probably know less about babies than Kiryu does. What's the random fight with a BDSM guy in the abandoned hotel?
Yeah, that was weird.
Why is that hotel still a wreck? That town keeps building new shit, but that one hotel? I like the old guy that is in charge of the Hiroshima Yakuza group. He looks real. I laughed at that random cutscene where he just grabs one of the guys and puts him in a wrestling move in the background. That was funny. Well, couldn't find out that guy is also a villain, but actually not a villain. He's also Michael Myers. Haruko has a huge head.
Yeah, she does.
No way Haruka birthed him. I was convinced that most of this game he wasn't hers, but the later chapters are sure making it clear that it's hers. And why the hell did she hitch up with Yakuza guys, and how many was she with if they can't figure out who the dad is? They don't have birth control in Japan? I thought she was trying to distance herself from that life just to dive deeper into it. I did do the Cam Girl side quest, and it was one of the most embarrassing but hilarious quests I've ever done. Those are real Cam Girls, too, so I'm glad my wife didn't walk in on me playing the part. It doesn't even look like a game, and I don't know what she would think. Where's Majima? It's hilarious. Sajima went back to prison. Oh, yeah. That scene where they pass Haruto around like a football is hilarious. Kid has a head as big as a football, so it must have been easy. Well, there you go. If you want to send us an email about talking about the ending to this game, you can, Dustin. I would appreciate it if you did. We'll read it off. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't have anything else.
Yeah, I don't either. I feel like it ended on a strong note, which makes me very happy for the series because, 3, 4, and 5, I like the way they tie into it. When we first saw the Morning Glory orphanage, I just thought it was like a random distraction.
Yeah.
Kind of a quirky, like, hey, this is so far outside of what a Yakuza would do. Isn't that funny? But then, multiple games later to have had it tie so closely into Haruka and Kiryu's kind of upbringing, and they stick with it, and he's back there with the kids in multiple games, so the series is just a lot tighter than I thought it was going to be when we started playing.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Between that and the recurring characters and all of it.
That's one of the things I told you about it whenever we were talking about them. Like I'd always told you, I was like, it's got like really tight continuity. Like it's weird and goofy. It's also very serious, and then everything ties into each other, and it really does. I mean, like it. I was happy to see how things played out for Kiryu because I had never seen this before. Like I apparently the farthest I'd ever played was Yakuza 3, but no, I'm still a huge fan of this series, even though 3, 4, and 5 are weak.
Yeah.
I think that overall they add a lot to the games. Just like Akiyama being a main staple in the game now, or in the series and stuff like that, who was introduced in one of the weaker titles for me. No, it's good. They stuck with the story. They stuck with the characters. Didn't necessarily change those characters that much. They these guys, and how they would react in this situation, and they do. The only big thing is, and I really liked it, was the fact that I've always known Majima was an insane person, but in Yakuza 0, that first introduction of him, I thought was absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, and I feel like I've gotten to watch Haruka grow up, literally, from a baby to an adult, basically.
Yeah. I think she started the series as like a 6-year-old, and ends it at 19 with a child.
Which is it only 13 years? I thought Kiryu's aged like 30 years in the series.
I mean, technically he has, because Yakuza 0 took place in 1985.
Yeah.
So, yeah. We've seen Kiryu go from early 20s to in his mid to late 40s. So,
yeah.
Impressive.
It's rare to spend that much time with a video game character.
I know we've been playing these games for a year and a half now.
Yeah, I don't know. Even when I was loving Zero and I was thinking there's no way the rest of the series can match this, which I don't think it ever did, I still like it more than I thought I was going to at that point.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. But yeah, that's going to be it for us. As far as the next thing on our list, are we still thinking of doing Nightmare Before Christmas in December?
And then Literary Adventure?
And then Literary Adventure in January with Ready Player 2?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. I'm down for that then. We'll just have to come up with a horror game. Matt, I know you mentioned...
I'm in for it.
You are in for it? Then we're going to do that one. Then we're going to do Alone in the Dark, The New Nightmare, which is a PlayStation 1 title. It's also on PlayStation 2, but only in Europe. Yeah, we'll be doing that for our Nightmare Before Christmas.
And I will be going back and listening to our previous episodes
about Alone in the Dark. You're going to just hear me and you and Dave rage on how crappy Alone in the Dark is.
Yep. And I want to see if there's any commonalities between what we liked or didn't like in that game versus this PS1 game.
I mean, from what I understand, this PS1 game is basically Resident Evil.
Yeah.
While Alone in the Dark 2007 was... I don't know what that game was. I really don't know what that game was. It was everything and nothing all at once.
Yep. An ambitious mess.
Yes, it was. But yeah, that's going to be it for us. I hope you guys have a great week. Thank you all for listening. Until next time, I am Drew.
I am Matt.
And we are out of here. Hope you guys have a great week. We'll be back. I don't know when. It may be me and Anthony doing an intermission show. It may be in December when we're doing A Nightmare Before Christmas. But either way, we will let you know. Just stick to the Twitter. And, yeah, that's it for us. You guys have a great one.